Hey, this is John with Smoke Eater Guitars. Our mission is to keep your axe playing its best at all times. On this channel, we'll cover some basic setups all the way up to pro level repairs. I'll show you tips, tricks, even some trade secrets. Our mission is to save rock and roll, one guitar at a time.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching the channel. This is Smoke Eater Guitars. I'm John, where our mission is to save rock and roll, one guitar at a time. Today's video is going to be kind of a short one. I always say that it's going to be short, but it ends up being long. But we're going to be looking at changing out the 3-barrel saddles on a Telecaster. We have some Music City bridge saddles that we ordered, highly recommended from a few viewers. I did a video on basically what's that sound or what's that micro vibration going on a Telecaster and how to solve that. And I did. We solved that issue on that last video, but there were some comments on there that I should try these Music City bridge saddles. So I ordered some. And I got them in the other day. So today we're going to be replacing them. And then once I get it set up and get it playing right, I'll come back and do kind of a review on how well they work. So I'll play them for about maybe a week or two, do some heavy playing on them. And then I can come back and give you an honest and fair review for them. So thanks for watching the channel, and we'll get started. Just got these in just the other day. Wanted to do a quick video on these. I'll do a review video on this after I get these installed, but having a little trouble with the stability of the action screws is really what I'm having the issue with. They tend to work themselves up and down a little bit. I did another video where I put a little fingernail polish on these posts, and it seems to work and take away some of that micro vibration. But one of the viewers' comments was, hey, I've used these Music City saddles for a while, and they work real well, and it did that. I had the same issue, and this did away with them. And this being one of my own guitars here, I don't mind trying new things on my guitar that I'm not sure will work or anything, but you know, this is a common problem with some Telecasters, and I've got customers that had the same issue. So I'm going to see if this works by putting them on my guitar, and then if customers actually come in with that same issue and this works, then I will, advise them, hey, maybe try these. I'll let them try this guitar out, see if this is better for them, and then simply order them and get them done. Now, Music City, I got to give props to these guys. Everything I bought for this from them has come in very quickly and has been high quality. So I don't mind spending a little bit extra to get quality, but these were not a whole lot more expensive than these. So we're going to give them a try. So let's see what we got here in the package. Well, we got an instruction card, how to kind of set those up. They are compensated, so they have little grooves cut in them, very similar to these, where it compensates and allows you to place that string at the right intonation distances. So we have that. We have our screws and bolts in here. So they sent the action screws separate, not installed on the saddles themselves. So we'll have to install those. And then they sent the 3 intonation screws and 3 springs and an Allen wrench to do it all with. So far, it looks like we have everything to get this job done. So while we set this up, I'll set this guitar aside, and then we'll focus on just getting everything ready on the saddle itself. So let's take a look at this real quick. We have an intonated side on both sides. It looks like they're evenly cut. One side is going to be down further, then up. The other side is going to be up and then down further. So I believe these are going to be interchangeable. There's not going to be an assigned saddle to the strings that will be done. I believe that's what this information card is going to show us. Let me try to get this in the center here. So this information is going to show us a right-handed setup and a left-handed setup. So we'll just go off this guide and set that up. But it shows us that low then high goes first, then high then low, and then low and high. And that's what I kind of figured. But again, it takes us a little setup here. We're going to see if all of our action screws are going to be the same height, because typically you find low and or medium and low on these. They'll have basically two different sizes. The small ones, they sent us two small ones. The small ones are going to go onto the outside closest to the E strings. So we'll put the first small one in place. Get the Allen wrench here. I know it doesn't look too dark on the video, but it's kind of dark where I'm working. One thing you got to be careful of is you don't want to strip these. These are brass and steel going together. Steel is going to be a little bit harder than brass. So if you start screwing these in and it's not perfectly threaded, you have a tendency of being able to cross thread. So that's going to be, so I set the barrels up to where they're going to lie, right? And I know my downside is going to go to the top. So I made sure my Allen screw went down from the top. And it's going to go low, high, high, low, then low, high. So I know this is the spot where my high E is going to go. So barrel, I know this is the spot where my high E is going to go. So we're going to put the next low screw, smaller, shorter screw, into where that E string goes into. All right. So we want to replace these without taking the strings off, because I just recently, I mean, within the last week, put these strings on here. And we have a through the body guitar here. So what that means is the strings are coming through the back end of the body, coming through the body over the saddle back up to the tuners. So to save the springs here, we are going to simply go up to the tuners. And on that, let's go with the second fret here. I'm going to hold on to the string while I loosen this tuner. Now, even with the capo on it, I will still be able to kind of pull that string to me. So we're going to kind of keep it tight around the tuner, but loosen the string, and then that allows me to leave that string on that tuner, but still get slack in it. So a little pro tip for you there. Yeah, so we got all of our strings nice and loose here. So that was the little trick I wanted to show y'all with how you can actually save some strings when you're dealing with a situation like this. So what I like to do is I like to take a kind of a mental picture here. So I do a little looking. I can see on this first mounting screw here that holds the bridge down to the body, my saddle is about halfway up that mounting screw. And then if I look at this one, the tip of this saddle is just beyond that screw. And then I have a stair step up, right? Where these are a little bit more even, but there's definitely a stair step up. I tell you that because you can either take a picture of that, or what you could do is just take a mental picture like I do. I take a mental picture of it. So whenever I put the new bridges back on, that's going to be kind of my starting point of my setup, is I'll be right there to kind of start doing with the intonation and the action. And that gets me pretty close. I am going to use my electric screwdriver to do this because it's just a nice and easy. If you don't have one of these, a regular screwdriver will definitely work. And I know I'm really close in, but I did want to show you that I'm going to be using this. And we are simply going to back these saddles all the way out. All right, so we got a short one on the E side. But that's going to be this E, because I can tell by the steps here. When in doubt, just go back to your chart that they sent you and look at that card, your mounting card, to make sure you get the right one in the right place, because these absolutely are dependent on being correct. Hey, we didn't have to drill, but they are bigger. They are definitely bigger. I'm showing you kind of how I'm doing this first one. And these are a little tricky because got to hold my mouth in the right spot to talk. You got to get those lined up, and these barrels tend to kind of roll on you. So what I like to do, instead of using my electric one on this one, I'll get it started with a regular screwdriver to make sure I'm not going to cross thread anything. And then I'll go back with my electric once I get it started, because it does, you fumble around with these a little bit. more than you would just a regular saddle. So yeah. Okay, now that I know I got it started and it's straight, I'll go back with my electric. Remember where we're pulling that back to? About midway down that screw. There we go. We'll start right there. Y'all remember where the saddle was? The end of the saddle about half way down where it crossed each other. So we'll see how well that works out for us. This saddle is going to come back almost even with the one in front of it, or the one beside it. So we're going to draw that down. It had just a little bit of length on the other one. I got to make sure that is down and up. Okay, so we're correct. So once we get these kind of in place, what we'll do is go back and tighten up our strings. All right, we are going to be tightening the strings the same manner that we loosen the strings. We're going to leave the capo on there and just tighten them where they're good and tight and will stay in place. And we shouldn't have to do a whole lot because the capo is going to do all the work for us. The next thing I'm going to do is kind of go through the setup process without having to check the nut, without having to check the relief, because we didn't mess with any of that. But I do have to set the string height because these are brand new saddles and they are low right now. So the string's just barely over the top of the fret. And then I have to go back and check that intonation. So, all right, we're looking good as far as the action goes. What I want to do now is I'm going to point that guitar kind of away from you, pick the end of that guitar up, and what I'm looking at is where the string comes out of the body and onto the saddle. I want to make sure that's straight. That first string is good. Second string is good. Third and fourth, pretty straight. And the B is a little off, so I'm going to pull it over to the next groove. The E is a little off, so I'm going to take that one over to that groove. All right, those suckers are straight. So let's go ahead and give this a quick tuning. Now, I do have more of a detailed benchtop tuner, and let me show that to you. I mentioned it in a couple of other videos that guitar techs have fancy tuners. This is a desktop or a benchtop tuner. It's made by Peterson, Strobo Plus HDC. It's their latest version. I just got this not too long ago, and really enjoy it. Really like the way you read this, but this is not a class for that. But just remember that to fine tune this guitar, I'll use this. But we're not trying to fine tune it right now. We just need to set some intonation and get it close. So we're just going to use one of our clip-on tuners. All right, so we're going to get now that we got the tuning set kind of good, I'm going to go ahead and plug in, because we're doing intonation on this, I'm plugging it into my strobe tuner, and then I put it in playing position to set the intonation. Oh, that's right on. All right, so the E's intonated. Again, when you're doing this, if you want to get real precise like this, strobe tuners are the way to go. They are absolutely the most accurate. In between a note, or in between one note and the next note, there are 100 cents. Okay? Hence the word cent, century, 100. So they call them cents. So in between each note, there's 100 cents. So if I was on an E and I moved 100 cents forward, I would be on an F. If I moved 100 cents back, I'd be on an E flat. So those 100 cents. So our tuner here is this tuner is accurate within about 20 cents, where the strobe tuner is accurate by 0.1 cent. So it's that accurate, right? If you could ever get that rotator to stop rotating, um, you would be a perfect tuning. So I'm going to bring this up so you can kind of watch as I do this. Watch this tuner. And I know this is not a tuning class, but I haven't covered this in any other videos. So I wanted to make sure you guys get a chance to see this. All right. So as I pluck the string, see that rotating dial around it? It's going backwards. That means I'm a little flat. What I want that to do is stop moving. So see how it stopped moving? It's never really stopped moving. But once it stops moving, it's that note. But we don't want a G sharp. We want an A, right? So we need to go up. So it's going forwards. That means it's a little sharp. We'll slow that down a little bit. All right, that's close to stopping. You'll never get it to stop moving, by the way. So that E is pretty good intonated. All right, we are intonated. We are all set up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play this guitar for a while and then come back and I'll let you know how these saddles are acting and how they sound. So I'm going to unplug here, turn this off, play it unplugged for a while, and then I'll plug it in, and then we'll see what it looks like. We'll see what it sounds like. So far, pretty impressed with these. The compensation looks pretty good. I love the fact that you can set those strings, make sure they're straight. Once that tension goes on there, they're going to stay in place because of those grooves that they cut in. Hey everybody, I'm back doing kind of a follow-up on a video that we did about a week and a half ago, where we put some new Music City bridge saddles on a Telecaster. Played it over the last week. Really, I can tell you that these are some of the best saddles that I've played on a Telecaster before. Actually worked on a Telecaster before. Really impressed. Very, very impressed. Once I got the tuning stability down, got the strings stretched and everything, they seem to stay in place real well. There's no micro vibrations on them. They can take some low action. The action screws stayed in place a lot better than the ones I had in the past. So yeah, very pleased and will highly recommend these. And they look super cool. They look authentic to the Telecaster. And if you guys remember, this was the Telecaster we've done a lot of work on. So very cool. Music City. I think I still have the stickers on my desk somewhere. Music City Bridge. I found them online. Just looked up Music City bridges. They have some top quality, kind of unique items there. Highly recommend you go over there and give them a visit. Give them a shout out. Let them know Smoke Eater Guitars sent you over there. I don't get anything from them, but I bought several pieces of hardware from them, and can't tell you how pleased I am with everything that I bought from them.